Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, this is George again from the Elvis Vinyl Guy channel. This is my second video for my soundtracks. This will be the 1980s and to present. So this is going to be probably a pretty long video, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I won't talk a lot about these unless it's something very significant. I'm just going to show them and go just to make the video so this, so it's not 30 minutes long or anything. I'll start with CDs. Across the Universe. Batman by Prince, of course. Beyond the Sea. Kevin Spacey. Bordello of Blood. Cocktail. Now, most of these are going to be from the 80s, but some will be from the 90s and a few newer. This is The Commitments from 1991. This was an amazing movie and a great soundtrack. It's all soul music done by a white Irish band, and they are amazing. The Commitments Volume 2. Dazed and Confused. Just a great 70s rock compilation. Dirty Dancing. Just a promo CD. The Doors. $50 of Grey. It's got a really good set of songs on it. I mean, everybody. Annie Lennox is on there. The Weeknd, of course, is really good. The Rolling Stones, Frank Sinatra, Beyonce, Skylar Grey. I mean, it's a great soundtrack. Of course, the definitive 80s soundtrack, Footloose. It's the original release, not the anniversary edition with the different songs on it. Good Morning Vietnam. Great Balls of Fire about Jerry Lee Lewis. Heartbreak Hotel. I showed this in my Elvis video. It's just a good compilation with Alice Cooper, Elvis. The guy playing Elvis, David Keith, does a few songs, and Drift Away by Dobie Gray. Honeymoon in Vegas. Elvis songs, of course, done by, rock and country guys. Got All Shook Up by Billy Joel. Travis Tritt doing Burning Love. Heartbreak Hotel by Billy Joel. Are You Lonesome Tonight by Brian Ferry. That's really good. Can't Help Fall in Love by Bono. Jailhouse Rock by John Cougar Mellencamp. Eddie Vedder's Into the Wild. Oliver Stone's JFK. One of my favorite movies. Less Than Zero. Great soundtrack. Aerosmith doing Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Flu. Life Fades Away, which was a song penned by Glenn Danzig. Done by Roy Orbison. Rock and Roll All Night by Poison. Going back to Cali L, Cool J, You and Me, Less Than Zero by Glenn Danzig. Inagata Devita by Slayer. Hazy Shade of Winter by the Bangles. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, She's Lost You. Just a great soundtrack. Mask of Zorro. This is a great score. Mona Lisa Smiles. Mr. Holland's Opus. The Notebook. Now and Then. Some good stuff from the 60s, 70s. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Pink Cadillac. Some good Michael Martin Murphy stuff there. Reservoir Dogs, great soundtrack. Selena. One of my favorites, Shocker. It's full of just Kiss and Iggy Pop and Megadeth doing No More Mr. Nice Guy. That's great. Streets of Fire, great 80s soundtrack. That Thing You Do, and Wedding Singer. All right, that's just the CDs. I want to get into the vinyl. Now, some of these aren't from the. I'm going to do. There's just a handful of children ones that I threw in there. They're not from the 80s, but they were just released on picture disc. Got Sleeping Beauty. I love these picture discs. Tangled. And I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but I just really like the artwork. My Little Pony. Yeah. Just go ahead and leave your comments down below. The Walking Dead soundtrack volume 1. This is on blood red vinyl. And The Walking Dead soundtrack volume 2 picture disc. This was a record store day release. Less Than Zero on vinyl. It's on Def Jam Records. Back to the Future on MCA. Rocky 4, Still in the Shrink. It's an amazing soundtrack. Rocky 3, an amazing soundtrack. It's on Liberty Records. The Woman in Red, fantastic movie from the 80s. Of course, it's got I Just Called to Say I Love You by Stevie Wonder. The Woman in Red. Pretty much it's all Dionne Warwick and Stevie Wonder, but what a great movie. Great soundtrack. Sweet Dreams. Lifetimes of Patsy Cline. One of my favorites, music composed by Maurice Jarre. Witness. This is a La Bamba. All the Richie Valens stuff done by Los Lobos, and then of course Brian Setzer's doing Eddie Cochran, and the great Marshall Crenshaw doing Buddy Holly, and Howard Huntsberry is doing Jackie Robinson's Lonely Teardrops. That's a great soundtrack. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, my favorite movies of all time. I do believe this has, yes, this does have a insert. I thought that it had a poster, but I guess it didn't. I just swore it had a poster. Another great Twilight Zone the movie on Warner Brothers. Some James Bond, For Your Eyes Only. Great Roger Moore. Timothy Dalton's The Living Daylights. One of my favorite movies from the 80s. Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan. This is still sealed. I was really stoked when I found that. And of course, Footloose. The Big Chill. What a movie and what a soundtrack. This is comprised mainly, well, all Motown artists pretty much. I mean, you're looking at Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye, My Girl, The Temptations, The Rascals, Good Lovin', Tracks of My Tears by Smokey Robinson, Three Dog Nights, Joy to the World, The Exciters, Tell Him, Whiter Shade of Pale, Procol Harum, I Second That Emotion, Smokey Robinson, The Miracles, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, Aretha Franklin, and Ain't Too Proud to Beg by The Temptations. What a great soundtrack. very, very nice lineup. And from the TV show Beauty and the Beast, cool inner sleeve there. It's on the Capitol purple. I just had to get that just for the artwork. It's amazing. 9.5 weeks on Capitol color band. Great Kim Basinger movie. Do Star Trek here. Got The Voyage Home, Star Trek 4. I got Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. It's also in Capitol. It's an awesome gatefold here. A lot of people, a lot of Trek fans, that's not their favorite one, but I got to admit, right after Wrath of Khan, when that came out, I loved it, and I still love it to this day. I could care less for the fifth one. I'm at a loss for the name of the movie now, but Final Frontier, I could care less with that. I love the Undiscovered Country, and of course the motion picture, and my favorite all-time Star Trek movie is The Wrath of Khan. And what an amazing movie this was. This one is on Atlantic. The others were on Capitol. It's that classic Atlantic label. This is a classic movie. I love this. Ricardo Montalban as Khan was just amazing. I grew up watching him on Fantasy Island, and just what an amazing, amazing actor. Clash of the Titans, an 80s classic. Could not deny this movie. One of the funniest movies from the 80s, Airplane, on Regency Records. One of my favorite movies, Hiding Out. I love this soundtrack because it featured the duet of Roy Orbison and Katie Lang on Crying. I love the video when that first came out. I used to try to watch it every time it came on. It's a great movie. I think pretty much one of the forgotten movies of the 80s. Tender Mercies. Now this has Robert Duvall singing country music. And yes, he is on here singing country music. He does 3 songs. Pretty decent job, too. This was a hard one to come by. And you can get it off of eBay, but I bought this actually here locally. I didn't think I'd ever find that, but Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. Capitol Rainbow label. This has a pretty cool gatefold and poster. Stunning little Tina Turner picture there. Another one of my favorites from the 80s, Tina Turner. Well, she had some good albums in the 80s, but I mean, I loved her even when she was with Ike. Sucks that she had to take a beating to make all that good music, but Say, getting gatefolds back in these sleeves is a job. Another iconic movie from the 80s, Flashdance. Some good Irene Cara here. You see, this has got Lady, Lady, Lady by Joe Esposito, Kim Carnes, I'll Be Where the Heart Is, Donna Summer, Laura Branigan. Just great soundtrack, great movie. Here's my Commitments, Volume 2 on vinyl. This is a German import. I believe it's the only way it was released on vinyl. I don't think it was released in the United States. My Commitments Volume 1. Yeah, this is a Holland release. Oh, had these mixed up in there. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Walt Disney. I collect all these Disneys I can get. I just love the artwork. It's a Small World. I'll just buzz right through these. Merriest Songs. One of my favorite Disney movies, Robin Hood. Absolutely one of my favorite Disney movies. That's an original pressing with booklet. Another great hard-hitting movie from the 80s, Colors. I think it was the 80s. It might have been, yeah, it's 88. Of course, Ice-T with the title song Colors, and Salt and Pepper Kane. Great movie, great soundtrack. Another great movie, great soundtrack is Cocoon. Now these next albums, they're my. I don't really use the word grail a lot because I think it's not trying to tear anybody down or anything, but I think that word is really shuffled around the vinyl community way too much. I mean, honestly, in the world of vinyl music, there aren't that many grails. I mean, not as often as it is used. I've seen people use the word grail, and maybe it's a personal grail, and that's fine. I've got personal grails too. I probably wouldn't call them grails, but anyway, these are pretty much my horror soundtracks, and a lot of these are really hard to come by. Some of them I paid over $100 for them, but I really wanted them, and they're amazing artwork. And I'll just get started. This first one is Creep Show. It's the original first pressing of Creep Show with the comic book cover art. It's a Varese Saraband label pressing. This is another copy of Jaws. It's not the same one I had in my last video. And most of these aren't from the 80s. This isn't horror, but it was in there with it. 2010. The Year We Make Contact. Still in the Shrink. And this is, yeah, A&M Records. I don't have 2001. I just can't ever find that in good enough condition. The Howling. This one cost a lot of money. So did, this is also a Varese Saraband. So did Creep Show. Creep Show is probably my most expensive record to date in soundtracks. And one of my favorites from the 80s is Return of the Living Dead, Part 2. This has got Leather Wolf, Anthrax, Lamont, The Big O, Mantronics, another Anthrax song, Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction, High Priest of Love. What an amazing soundtrack from the 80s. Still in the Shrink. It's on Island Records. This was a big one for me. Loved finding this copy. Look at that artwork. Just amazing. And that's it for the horror movie soundtracks. Streets of Fire. Great 80s movie. Followed up right after Eddie and the Cruisers as a promo copy. One of the funniest movies in the 80s, Porky's. This has got just a bunch of, some doo-wop and country. Cold, Cold Heart by Hank Williams, Shaboom by the Crew Cuts, Earth Angel, Honky Tonk, and Only You by the Platters, Lovesick Blues by Hank Williams. Just a lot of good old honky tonk country and some doo wop, kind of a weird mix. But Porky's Revenge. Now this has got some great stuff on it too. Dave Edmunds starts it off with High School Nights, Do You Want to Dance, Sleepwalk by Jeff Beck, I Don't Want to Do It by George Harrison, The Fabulous Thunderbirds performing Stagger Lee, Blue Suede Shoes by Carl Perkins, and the other two members of the Stray Cats, Slim Jim Phantom and Lee Rocker. Peter Gunn theme by Clarence Clemens, Queen of the Hop by Dave Edmunds, Love Me Tender by Willie Nelson, and Porky's Revenge by Dave Edmunds. And there's Philadelphia Baby, which is the Crawling King Snakes, which is made up of Robert Plant, Paul Martinez, Phil Collins with Dave Edmunds. Just a killer soundtrack. I like this a lot better than the original Porky's. One of my favorite soundtracks is The Big Town. I love this soundtrack because it's all 50s stuff, and it's really good 50s stuff. Fever by Little Willie John, Ruby Baby by the Drifters, Drown in My Own Tears, Ray Charles, Home of the Blues by Johnny Cash, Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin. My favorite song is by Ivory Joe Hunter, Since I Met You, Baby. What an amazing song. Shake, Rattle, and Roll by Big Joe Turner. Just on and on. Just amazing. Still in the Shrink with hype stickers. On the Atlantic label. Just, if you get a chance to pick this up, put it in your collection. It is a great album. Pink Cadillac. Grease 2. Dolly's 9 to 5. I know it's a country album, but it's also basically a soundtrack. Dawn of the Dead. The newer version on orange vinyl. Another great movie, Band of the Hand from the 80s. This is from Michael Mann, the guy that made Miami Vice. The Color Purple. I was really stoked when I got this. This is Quincy Jones. It's a 2-record set on purple vinyl. Another staple of the 80s, St. Elmo's Fire. Everybody pretty much knows what's on that. The Breakfast Club. Just the artwork is amazing. And the album. Gremlins. Cannot have an 80s soundtrack collection without having any of those three. Superman 3. This is when the Superman movies really started sucking. Superman 2. This is one of the coolest soundtracks. I believe it's one of the first times they used the etching. Let's see if I can get this clear to you. The Superman symbol is etched. There you go. Etched on the vinyl. All the way around on both sides. In my first video, I showed the Superman 1 soundtrack, so it's not in this video. I'm a humongous Lone Ranger fan. This is a promo copy. This movie sucks, but it's got the music. This was narrated by Merle Haggard, and it was just hokey and horrible, but it had great music. It was filmed really well. Just the acting was just sucked. An Officer and Gentleman. American Pop. This is another promo copy. This is loaded. This Hell is for Children by Pat Benatar. Sorry. Moms and the Pop is Peter, Paul, and Mary. The Jimi Hendrix Experience. Dave Brubeck Quartet. Sam Cooke. Fabian. The Doors. Great soundtrack. If you can get a copy of this, pick it up. Another great soundtrack. My favorite movie of all time right here is Platoon. I love anything that has to do with Oliver Stone, but that is definitely my favorite Oliver Stone movie. My favorite movie, period. Iron Eagle, another great staple of the 80s. Firstborn, Still in the Shrink. Light of Day, Joan Jett. Great soundtrack. Jewel of the Nile. 25 minutes, y'all. Sorry about this, but it's almost done. Top Gun. Another great movie and great soundtrack. Of course, you can't have one without having Miami Vice. I don't have Miami Vice 2. I don't really see the need. Pretty in Pink. Another great movie. Hard to Hold. Rick Springfield. And last but not least, Little Shop of Horrors. Great gatefold. Alright, y'all. Sorry that video took a little long. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right here. Look out for my video. I did get some recent vinyl finds today. Some more CDs and some more records. One actual grill, in my opinion. And I'll be excited to shoot that video, and it'll be downloaded onto YouTube right after this one. So see you on the flip side, VC.